Good morning, Mr. Romy.
Good morning to you too, Mr. Wright.
Today is the day, Mr. Romy. I'm positive that I now have enough evidence to prove your innocence.
Are you sure, Mr. Wright? Will the people that I am innocent?
I'm positive that you didn't do it, and I might have a feeling on who actually did.
Really? Bitte who Ausrufezeichen?
It's the one that will be testifying today, Theodore Noyes.
Theodore Noyes. Wir haben 10 settlement in Elias.
Years you say, Mr. Romy?
Well, it was 7 years ago when Mr. Noyes worked with my family.
Mr. Noyes used to work with you?
See, he worked with us until 5 years later. He quit to start his own business behind the restaurant.
You know, when I came in the restaurant 2 days ago, Mr. Noyes tried to get a job there and your father acted like he didn't know him.
Strange that Mr. Noyes wanted to get his job back. Noyes was a very rude man and my papa did not like him all that much. After Noyes quit, my papa started to forget about him.
This is definitely news to me. So Noyes used to work at Delicioso Pasta until a couple years later to start his own business.
Will the defense and defendant please enter the courtroom?
Well, looks like this it, the moment of truth.
I have no idea what to expect.
I'm getting you the not guilty verdict, I promise.
Good luck, Phoenix. I'll be watching over you.
Huh, that sounded like Mia for a second there. But let's get this show on the road.
Court is now session for the trial of Pepino Romy.
The defense is ready, Your Honor.
The prosecution has been ready for quite some time, Your Honor.
I see. Now I believe both the defense and prosecution has found new evidence that shall be presented in this courtroom.
Indeed, Your Honor, the prosecution would like to call the detective in charge to give us the report on the new evidence that was found.
Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. You may call the detective to the stand.
Detective, please state your name and occupation to the court.
Sir. Mit navn er Ivan Stakket, homicide detektiver til præsent, sir.
Do you are the one in charge of the investigation?
Yes, sir. I work under prosecutoriet, sir.
I see, and you will testify to this court on the evidence you found during the investigation.
Yes, sir. I vil gladelig give til detaljer, sir.
So that detective also found evidence? I wonder what it is that he found. I better pay attention to his testimony and see what information I can get out him.
I was ordret bytte prosecution tog til at lukke Mr. Noyes apartment efter detaljen hjem. I havde lukket Ravnen found sommerhæng favasoristrenge. I der præget 2B taberkoder. I was scheiding under tilkus. I plægede til at kode out of curiosity nu have vasori suspicious. I was a recorded konversation på en tv-man Mr. Ego.
A tape recorder you say?
Yes, sir. It was very strong, especially after hearing have was in it.
I see. Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination.
I was ordret bytte prosecution tog til at lukke Mr. Noyes apartment efter detaljen hjem. I havde lukket Ravnen found sommerhæng favasoristrenge. I der præget 2B taberkoder. I was scheiding under tilkus.
Hold it! Was there anything else in the apartment?
Vel, så was der fotografen doorstopper you found. Put fast pretty musik.
And why did you find this tape recorder suspicious?
Vel I noticerede fat til tape en side var slappe led, Gundervision og Ego.
I see, and then what did you do?
I plægede til at kode out of curiosity nu have vasori suspicious. It was a recorded conversation på en tv-man Mr. Ego.
Hold it! Do you have this tape recorder with you?
Seriøst, sir. I har I dig her.
If you don't mind, detective, can we hear what was in that recording?
I don apostrof til sivhynod. Her I dis.
Are you really sure this is a good idea?
I'm absolutely sure. It's the only way to get that place closed down.
I really don't want to eat their spaghetti. I did pick slow and it won't taste better.
Oh, quit your damn whining. You want your restaurant back on the map or not?
Hugh, fine. We will both order a plate of spaghetti and try it.
And if it tastes like crap, you will sneak in and find anything to expose that restaurant. Once we do, we will bring it to the press and have that restaurant closed down.
Soon good. Anything to get my restaurant back.
I don't know why, but I feel like someone is watching us.
What the? Why would Mr. Noyes have a recording of that?
No use you have en i seriøst strange.
I believe we've heard enough. The prosecution would like to submit this tape recorder into evidence.
Very well, the court accepts the tape recorder into evidence.
Now then, the prosecution would like to summon a new witness to the stand.
Very well, detective, you may step down from the witness stand. Now Edgeworth, you may call your new witness to the stand.
Theodore Noyes is gonna take the witness stand. If Mr. Romy is innocent and Mr. Ogo is telling the truth on what he saw, then it can only be none other than you, Theodore Noyes, and I will prove your guilt.
Will the witness please state his name and occupation to the court? Witness?
What do you want, Red Boy? You think I'm gonna answer to you after you drag me out of my home and have Beardy over there yell at me in some rusty old cell? I'll have you know when this is all over, I will.
Witness, name and occupation, right now.
Alright, fine. My name is Theodore Noyes and I'm the former owner of the Noisy Pizza.
And do you know why you were called here today?
Yeah, I do. I want to start by saying it's all ridiculous. You really gonna believe Blue Boy over there? He could be making stuff up.
The evidence will decide who is really lying, Mr. Noyes.
PFFT. Whatever Gramps. I will show you all this new thing called common sense.
Very well, please give testimony on your regards to these accusations, Mr. Noyes.
It's all lies. There's nothing that can back those accusations up. If people really think I have relations to that restaurant, then they are crazy. I only heard the news about Gordovich from the TV. I've never even been to that dumb restaurant in the first place. If that's really it, then I'd like to go home now.
So you deny these accusations, Mr. Noyes?
Duh, of course I do. I got better things to do than listen to some idiots in suits call me a criminal.
I see, Mr. Wright. Begin your cross-examination.
It's all lies. There's nothing that can back those accusations up. Hold it! There was a witness that claimed they saw a man with a pointy mustache putting the Leninine in Gordovich's spaghetti. Sure, that's a likely story. As someone who was born and raised in Italy, I know the Leninine takes up to an hour to kick in. If I really wanted to poison someone, I could have used something a lot quicker. Interesting that you know about the Leninine. Well, that isn't important. Now if I may continue, if people really think I have relations to that restaurant, then they are crazy. Hold it! So you have no relation with Delicioso Pasta? Just because I had a restaurant of my own opened behind them, that doesn't mean I knew the people there. Sounds like I found a contradiction. Better present that piece of evidence. Objection! You are making my ears ring. Mr. Noyes, please look at this photograph. What photograph? What are you? What the? Where did you? Looks like this photograph struck a nerve, Mr. Noyes, because it's a picture of you and the owner of Delicioso Pasta.
Order in the court. Mr. Wright, what is the meaning of that photograph?
It's simple, Your Honor. This is an old photo of Mr. Noyes shaking hands with Macaroni 6 years ago, because I was told that Mr. Noyes worked at Delicioso Pasta 7 years ago.
What? Mr. Noyes, is this true? Did you used to work at Delicioso Pasta?
Yeah, I used to work there 7 years ago.
What? Why didn't you tell us?
I really didn't see the point. I left that places a few years ago to start my own business. Plus, I don't see what that has to do with that critic's death.
That is a good point. Mr. Wright, do you think Mr. Noyes working there might have something to do with solving this case?
Yes, Your Honor. I believe it is very significant to this case.
Oh really? How so?
Because this witness had something 7 years ago that could link to today's crime.
Something that links Mr. Noyes working there 7 years ago and the crime? Well, let's hear it, Mr. Wright. What exactly is this thing that Mr. Noyes had that links these two settings together?
Take that!
What is that? A uniform? It's so filthy.
Objection!
What are you getting at, Mr. Wright? It shouldn't be any surprise that a chef's uniform was found at a restaurant.
But take a look at the name tag. It reads Noyes, as in the witness, Theodore Noyes.
So what? It's made very clear that Mr. Noyes worked at Delicioso Pasta, no doubt as a chef. Do you really think that uniform is linked to the murder of Ramos Gordovich?
As a matter of fact, I do.
What?
Think back to last time we were in court. Mr. Ogo testified that he saw a man wearing a chef's uniform and had a pointy mustache. And if what Mr. Ogo saw was true, I bet you see where I'm going with this.
What on earth are you? Wait, you don't mean, right, are you saying?
Yes, the person Mr. Ogo saw was not Peppino Romi, but it was none other than the witness, Theodore Noyes. What did you say?
Order, order, I will have order. Mr. Noyes, how do you respond to this?
How do I respond? I'm denying it, of course. You're just gonna let Blue Boy over here pin the crime on me. That's exactly what I'm doing. You had the perfect opportunity to poison Mr. Gordovich. After all, there is a possible motive on why you would do it. Oh, I see. So that's how we are gonna play it, huh? Well, I'll have you know right, you can't pin the crime on me without proof.
I believe another testimony is in order. Mr. Noyes, please testify to the court on why you couldn't have done it.
The things I have to do around here. Fine, I'll tell you the whole story and shut down that stupid Blue Boy's theory once and for all. It's true that I worked at that restaurant, but it doesn't change anything. Even if I did go to that restaurant, Mr. Romi would have noticed me entering the kitchen. I would have been kicked out of the place anyway. Mr. Romi must have found my old suit in the kitchen and threw it away in the dumpster. So there you have it. You have no proof that I had a chance to enter that kitchen.
So you had no possible chance of entering the restaurant without being noticed?
Exactly what I said, Gramps. Even if I did, I had no reason going to that damn restaurant.
I see. Mr. Wright, begin your cross-examination.
It's true that I worked at that restaurant, but it doesn't change anything. Even if I did go to that restaurant, Mr. Romi would have noticed me entering the kitchen. Hold it! How could you tell? What do you mean, how could I tell? I just find it strange that someone who has nothing to do with Delicioso Pasta would know about someone being inside the kitchen. Take it from me, Blue Boy, even though they were short-staffed, Mr. Romi would always be in the kitchen cooking. Are you sure there wasn't a time he left the kitchen while working? No, that guy always took pride in his work and never stopped for even a second. I have a gut feeling that there's a contradiction in that statement. I should probably have him added to his testimony. Your Honor, the defense would like Mr. Noyes to add that last statement to his testimony.
The court accepts the defense's request. Mr. Noyes, please add that statement to your testimony.
I really have no patience for this crap, but if I have to. Not once has Peppino ever left the kitchen while he was working. Found the contradiction. Time to present some evidence.
Objection!
So Mr. Romi never left his kitchen once, is that right? Of course I'm right, dum-dum. There was no way I could have went to that kitchen. Sorry, Mr. Noyes, but I'm afraid you're the only dum-dum here. What did you just say, Blue Boy? Do you want to get snapped?
Mr. Wright, what is the meaning of this?
It's quite simple, Your Honor. Take a look at this.
It looks like pieces of glass. Kinda looks like it represents a piggy bank.
It seems it struck a nerve, Mr. Noyes. Tell me, do you recognize this? I have no idea what you are talking about.
Objection!
With all due respect, Wright, I don't see how some pieces of broken glass have anything to do with this case. Unless, of course, you have an explanation for it.
As a matter of fact, I do. The defendant told me that while he was working, he heard glass breaking by the dumpster and he went out for 5 minutes to investigate.
Wait, so if the defendant was outside for 5 minutes, then that means...
Yes, that was the perfect opportunity to enter the kitchen without Mr. Romi noticing.
Good God.
Well, Mr. Noyes? I'm right, aren't I? What? Ha 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 ha. I got to give it to you, Blue Boy. You should have had a career of being a comedian. I can assure you that this is no laughing matter, Mr. Noyes. Oh please, you can't be serious. I knew you were stupid, but I didn't know you were that stupid. You are forgetting one important detail. And what detail would that be, Mr. Noyes? Good grief. I gotta spell it out for you. But fine, Blue Boy, I suppose I'll humor you for a second. Let's say I did wear that stupid uniform and broke some random piggy bank to lure Peppino out of his kitchen. And then I go into the kitchen to poison that critic's food. But here's the problem. How did I manage to leave the scene without anyone noticing me? Crap, I didn't think of that.
I believe Mr. Noyes should give us testimony on these circumstances. Mr. Noyes, please testify on why you couldn't have left the kitchen without being noticed.
I'm growing really tired of this tedious game that Blue Boy is playing here, but fine. It's very clear that Delicioso Pasta has one chef working there, being Peppino, so of course they would find it suspicious that two chefs would be in the kitchen at the time. Besides, Villenine can only be found in the black markets of Italy. If you really think I would risk my own life for some poison just to kill some stupid critic is crazy. Even if I did, there would be no place for me to hide from Peppino.
So you're saying there was no place for you to hide, is that correct?
Of course there wasn't. I used to work there years ago, but I still remember the layout of the restaurant.
Very well, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination.
It's very clear that Delizazzo Pasta has one chef working there, being Peppino, so of course they would find it suspicious that two chefs would be in the kitchen at the time. Hold it! But Mr. Ogo testified that he saw one chef in that kitchen, one with a pointy mustache. And you're really gonna believe him? After all, the chances of me having a bottle of Villenine with me are very slim. Besides, Villenine can only be found in the black markets of Italy. If you really think I would risk my own life for some poison just to kill some stupid critic is crazy. Hold it! Strange that you know so much about Villenine, especially since it was used to kill Mr. Gordovich. Hey, Mr. Gordovich made way too many enemies. It's no surprise someone would do the extreme and poison him. And you are saying you have nothing to do with it? Of course, Blue Boy, and I'll tell you why. Even if I did, there would be no place for me to hide from Peppino. And that's where you be wrong, Noise. Time to present some evidence. Objection! You said you remember the restaurant layout clearly, is that right? Like I said many times, Blue Boy, there was no place for me to hide. Oh, I think there was one place you could have hid from Mr. Roney. What? That's right, and it's right here on this map layout.
The court is intrigued with your claim, Mr. Wright, so let's hear it. Where in this layout could have Mr. Noise been hiding after poisoning the spaghetti?
Take that!
Behind the entry door.
The door opens inside towards the kitchen. It's possible that Mr. Noise hid behind the door until everyone ran out of the restaurant during Mr. Gordovich's death.
Objection!
That's ridiculous, right? Behind the door, Mr. Roney definitely would have noticed Mr. Roney behind the door, even if it was open.
But what if Mr. Noise used something to keep the door in place, in just the right angle for him to hide behind?
What? What do you mean?
I'll show you. Mr. Noise used this.
Take that!
Is that a door stopper?
That's right, a door stopper belonged to the restaurant and it was found in Mr. Noise's apartment.
What?
Mr. Noise. It's time for you to confess. No.
Order. I will have order. Mr. Noise, what do you have to say for yourself?
No, I can't accept. I won't accept. This is all wrong.
The defense proved the possibility that you poisoned Mr. Gordovich with Villenine and you had a plan to sneak in and escape the kitchen. If you are truly the culprit, it's for the best that you confess your crime right now.
Fine, you want the truth? I'll give it to you.
So it's true. You poisoned.
No, I'm not confessing that. I confessed that I was the one that placed the bottle of Villenine for Mr. Roney to use.
What?
You've got to be kidding me. Even after all of that, he still tries to weasel his way out. Why the look, Blue Boy? You got your precious truth, did you not? You're lying. You're the one that poisoned Mr. Gordovich, not Mr. Roney. Oh yeah? Where's your proof? What? You keep going on about this story on how I managed to enter the kitchen, but you didn't mention anything about me poisoning the spaghetti. But what about the bottle of Villenine? I only admit that I brought it in on Mr. Ronnie's orders. I don't suppose you have proof that my fingerprints are on that bottle, right? I hate to admit it, but he is right. Only Peppino and Mac's fingerprints were on that bottle. I can tell by that look on your face that you have no proof. Which makes it very clear, only Peppino could have been the only one that poisoned him. No, that's a lie.
Mr. Wright, I hate to admit it, but I'm afraid the witness has a point. There is no direct proof that he was the one that poured the poison in Mr. Gordovich's spaghetti. If there isn't any other evidence proving that Mr. Noise is the real culprit, then I have no choice but to question if these accusations against Mr. Noise are even accurate.
How did this happen? I was so close. Is there really nothing else I can prove?
Well, Mr. Wright, I'm waiting for your explanation. Do you really think Mr. Noise is the true killer? And if so, what evidence do you have to prove it?
What other evidence is there for me to prove that Mr. Noise did it? I've shown them everything I found.
Don't give up on yourself, right?
Mia?
You need to ask yourself, was it really the spaghetti that killed Gordovich? Or was there another way?
Wait a minute. Another way. Hold on a second.
Mr. Wright, are you there?
Ahem. Sorry, Your Honor, I was lost in thought for a second.
Well, keep your head straight and answer my question. Do you have evidence proving that Mr. Noyes is the culprit?
Yes, I do, Your Honor, and it will all make sense.
Well, let's hear it then. What piece of evidence points to Mr. Noyes being the killer?
Take that!
A coffee cup? I'm afraid I don't understand.
Let's go back to the beginning, where we learned that vileninin takes an hour to kick in when it enters the person's body. It is strange that it wasn't even an hour after Gordovich ate some spaghetti and died shortly after.
That is indeed strange, but what does that have to do with this coffee cup?
Well, think back to what Mr. Edgeworth said about Mr. Gordovich, where the only things he had was spaghetti and coffee.
Ah yes, I do recall he mentioned that last trial.
And where exactly was Mr. Gordovich when he entered the restaurant?
Well, from what I heard, he was, oh, great heavens.
That's right, Your Honor. He was at the coffee shop next door, and if you put two and two together, the real poisoning happened at the coffee shop.
What?
Objection!
Mr. Wright, do you have any idea what you are suggesting?
It would all make sense. Both the victim and Mr. Noyes argue that coffee shop, and it's a high possibility that he poisoned the coffee while he wasn't looking. It would explain why Mr. Gordovich died not long after he consumed his spaghetti instead of dying an hour later.
Just the absolute thought of it. Why this could change everything.
That's why I suggest the forensics take a look at that cup, and if there's vileninin found in that cup, then this will prove Mr. Roney innocent.
Good heavens.
Mr. Noyes, I suggest that you just confess right now before the results come back in. Well, I finally got him. There is no way he can come up with another lie to weasel his way out. You must think you're all high and mighty, blue boy. First you accuse me of poisoning spaghetti, now this. But fine, I suppose I can humor you one more time. Oh God, what is he gonna say now? Tell me, blue boy, if really poisoned Mr. Gordovich's coffee, then why would I go through all the trouble to bring the poison in the restaurant next door? There's no way you can explain that.
Well, Mr. Wright, can you explain why Mr. Noyes would bring poison to the restaurant if he already supposedly poisoned Mr. Gordovich's coffee?
I have three choices. What do I choose? There is only one reason why Mr. Noyes would also poison the spaghetti.
And what reason would that be, Mr. Wright?
The poisoned spaghetti was meant for someone else.
What? But who?
The second person that Mr. Noyes was trying to poison was Anton Ogo.
Objection!
Now I know you are definitely coming up with something crazy.
It's not crazy, it's the truth.
But why? Why would Mr. Noyes want to poison Mr. Ogo as well?
I'll show you, with evidence. This is the motive for Noyes for wanting to kill both Gordovich and Ogo.
Take that!
What is this? A newspaper article?
Read this article and tell me what it says.
It reads. Allah.
Seems like you understand, Mr. Edgeworth. Noyes wanted to also poison Anton Ogo because they both are the reason his restaurant closed down 1 year ago.
But what about the bottle of vileninin having no fingerprints belonging to Mr. Noyes?
Mr. Noyes must have been wearing gloves when putting the poison in the spaghetti and coffee cup. Well, Mr. Noyes, try to weasel your way out of this one. Ha 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 ha. Oh come on, just give up already. Sorry, blue boy, but I'm afraid you are missing one important detail for your little fictional story. How could I have known that the spaghetti belonged to Mr. Gordovich or Mr. Ogo? You're not gonna try and say it was based on dumb luck, are you? Sorry, Mr. Noyes, you ain't gonna weasel out of this one. What? You knew that Mr. Gordovich and Mr. Ogo were gonna eat spaghetti because you used this.
Take that!
Hey, that's, oh no, you used the tape recorder to record their conversation, and not only did you know about what they would order, you knew Mr. Ogo was gonna witness it, believing that he saw Mr. Roney poison the spaghetti. It's over, Mr. Noyes. You can't run from the truth. You poisoned Mr. Gordovich. It wasn't my fault. Gordovich was the one who ruined me. It was completely reasonable, really. I was just trying to make a living for myself. But then, those two just had to come in and stick their noses where they didn't belong. They ruined everything. They took everything from me. It's their fault that I have no job. It's their fault that I lost everything. It was them. Them. It was them. Arg.
Good lord. A pair of gloves fell out of his pocket as he blacked out.
It looks like the defense has rest their case, Your Honor. It's not fair. It's not fair at all. Why did those two idiots had to come into my restaurant and expose me like that? I was just trying to make a living for myself.
By selling recycled slices of pizza to customers, you could get someone really sick by doing that.
What choice did I have? I couldn't afford new ingredients every week because of the lack of customers.
Even so, you murdered Ramos Gordovich and attempted to murder Anton Ogo as well. You should be ashamed.
To think that a boy in blue got the better of me and figured everything out is not what I expected. Now, I have officially lost everything.
Officers, take him away. Are you filing a report for his arrest, Mr. Edgeworth?
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Noyes shall be charged and prosecuted for the murder of Ramos Gordovich, and for the attempted murder of Anton Ogo.
Very well. Glad to see we have reached the end of this trial. Mr. Roney, please take the stand. Mr. Roney, thanks to the defense, it is now without doubt true that you had no involvement in this distasteful crime.
It's just that the sort of mr would do something like this. I don't know what to think.
I do not blame you, Mr. Roney, especially when the real murderer was someone you used to know. It is a very sad thing to think about.
Mr. Ronnie, you shouldn't worry about what Mr. Noyes had become over the years. This was his doing and his alone. This was never your fault.
Hey, I can see why my papa trusted you to defend me. You have my thanks.
Very well, I believe we have reached a verdict. This court finds the defendant, Pepino Roney, not guilty. Let the confetti fly.
Oh, thank the heavens.
And with that, this court is adjourned.
I don't know what to say. Grazie, Mr. Wright.
Congratulations, Mr. Roney. I knew you were innocent.
Oh my boy, you are okay.
Papa.
I was scared that they were gonna take you away.
Me too, but thanks to Mr. Wright, my name has been cleared.
Mr. Wright, I cannot thank you enough.
Hey, I'm just glad I was able to prove your son innocent.
I will say, it's a pretty sad to what happened to a Mr. Noyes. Who would have thought that he would have become such a monster?
Hey, like I said, what Mr. Noyes did was his doing only. You are not to blame for this, Mr. Roney.
I guess you are right.
Omek, don't be down on yourself.
Hey, you're right. I'm so glad I still have my familia.
And I am so happy to see that my prayers have been answered. Bring it in, my boy.
Mama. I'm so happy to see you again.
And as for you, you have my thanks.
Ooh-wee, once again, she is a hugger.
We are all in your debt, Mr. Wright.
Hey, no problem, just doing my job.
If you ever stop by our restaurant, you will be welcomed with open arms.
That's right. Hope to see you there sometime.
SEC in Italian, arrivederci.
So glad that case is finally solved, and it's good to see the Roney family being happy together.
Good job, Nick. I knew you could do it.
That voice.
Surprise. Did you miss me?
Maya, it's so good to see you again.
Hey, I told you I was coming over to surprise you. And congrats on getting Mr. Roney off the hook.
Yeah, it was a bumpy ride, but we made it at the end.
Well, since I'll be here for a good bit with you, you know where we should go?
Let me guess, burgers?
Hey, you know me too well, Nick.
Well, let's go then, as a celebration.